welcome to Amphlett Reviews, back with a Hong Kong content review, diving into EUREKA's brand new release for She Shoots Straight, if I said it correctly, bit of a mouthful. This is quite an exciting one I wanted to check out for quite some time. It has got Sammo Hung's wife as the main leading action star in this film. I've heard very, very good things about this. It's meant to be one of the golden age of the Girls with Guns kind of series, and it's funny enough, this is directed by Yuen, who'd also done Yes Madam, another awesome kind of kick-ass action thriller with two female leads, with a bit of comedy, a bit of action, some dark subject matter. If you want to check out my review for that film, it will be on the channel already. For this one, this is a brand new release. I got this very, very early, which is quite nice. Nice slipcase, original artwork. You can see them there. And we have one of the original posters. There we go. Got the booklet, get the disc, and you also get alternative artwork, which is always nice. So without further ado, let's dive into She Shoots Straight.
The target will be the New World nightclub. That's where you ladies will be working.
She Shoots Straight, released in 1990, directed by Yuen, who did Yes Madam, as already mentioned, starring Joyce Godenzi, if I'm saying correctly. This is Sammo Hung's wife, real-life wife, and Sammo Hung also does feature as an extended cameo within this film as well, kind of supporting the kind of new trend at the time from the late 80s going into the 90s of the Girls for Guns kind of series kind of thing which is going on. Basically female empowerment, action films, leading stars, very different types of movies, very much the same type of film you usually would get with like a Jet Li or Jackie Chan or even a Sammo Hung film, but just with female empowerment, kick-assery that these films have to offer. And these are really interesting titles. They're kind of very similar in how they're kind of all approached. I've mentioned some of these already within the In Line of Duty series. If you want to check out my reviews for them, they're also on the channel. So I have reviewed all four of those films and a few others in between. This one is definitely an interesting one. I'd say if you like Yes Madam, if you know my thoughts and opinions on this one, basically, as I mentioned in my review for this is two movies kind of smashed together. This is a dark thriller with two female-led action stars, kick-assery, mixed with a lot of comedy. But the comedy does actually work pretty well. And there's things that work, there's things that don't work. It's kind of a mixed bag. It's kind of like a 50-50. You're going to get some kind of questionable stuff, okay stuff. You're going to get some great stuff in terms of comedy, in terms of action, in terms of just... And this film is exactly the goddamn same. You've got an incredible 25 minutes, 30 minutes of the film. The first introduction is absolutely awesome. You can introduce these characters straight away, introduce the drama, the setup, everything is laid out in front of you. The opening of the film is a wedding sequence where you got the kind of main leading character, which is Joyce Godenzi, who is a kind of up-and-coming kind of star in a sense. She's someone who is rising up the ranks of the kind of police force. She's marrying into this kind of family that is basically very kind of almost dysfunctional, very kind of competitive. 4 or 5 sisters. You have the mother and the brother. Now the brother is also the one that she is marrying into the family with, and all these sisters are also police force kind of things. They are kind of lieutenants and officers as well, and they're all very jealous. They're all kind of like don't approve of her because of her her background, who she is. She's a very strong, capable woman who is no nonsense, getting shit done, very authoritative, but like not in a mean way or kind of a vicious way, but just as someone who just wants to be a successful person. And it's very much a very positive kind of female empowerment movie, which is great from this get-go because she's dealing with kind of light sexual harassment, which is from the captain, and she's dealing with pressures from all different sides. You've got a weird angle with the whole husband who wants to get her pregnant, and they made this agreement of no babies until after I've made the higher kind of ranking kind of system, so it falls in line with the plan, and he has other things in mind. So she's dealing with a lot going on. She's got these really kind of bitchy kind of sisters-in-laws who basically really don't like her, and she's getting all the glory, getting all the fame, and everyone's, apart from the husband who is just fully supportive, apart from doing that one questionable thing in the film. She's a lot going against her in a sense of there's a lot of competition, a lot of things going around, but it's all handled very, very well. And it's a very great introduction to these characters, great introduction to the kind of the scenarios they're in. You've got Sammo Hung, who is also a fellow kind of sergeant, who's just kind of there kind of things. He's not there for this kind of comedy sidekick or kind of thing, but he's just there to kind of support the characters, and he's just there in the film, which is great. And basically through this you get a series of pretty awesome action stunts. You know, the action for this is absolutely incredible. And Yuen, if you watch any of his films, does not fare when it comes to that. You know, Righting Wrongs is one of my all-time favorite Hong Kong movies, one of my favorite films from him. You know, Yes Madam has the best third act sequence, action sequence ever. It's brilliant, absolutely phenomenal. You know, if you watched Hero, which is the remake from Box Office Shantoon, incredible action set moments in there. In terms of stunt work, in terms of gunplay, in terms of fighting choreography, just, you know, the way the camera work moves, how the scoring is placed. There's a brilliant section within the first kind of 30 minutes of the film where she's just chasing after these bad guys who, you know, it's absolutely awesome. You get great scoring, it's very intense. You really kind of jump straight into it. It's exactly what you see. And the best thing as well is that, you know, I don't know her background, I don't know what she's come from, but she is doing most of these stunts and it's absolutely phenomenal. I don't see barely any kind of, you know, stunt doubles. You know, I don't know if she's from a kind of martial arts background or dancing background, but considering she had a very limited time in kind of her acting kind of career, you know, she was someone who was in basically Eastern Condors, she was in some of the Jackie Chan films. She's a very small career of kind of her run, and this is a kind of her first main lead and kind of starring role solo by herself, and she really commands the screen and she does a really brilliant job. Her performance is really top notch. I really like her character. I like her, what she does, what she says, how she moves. Her action is just really fantastic. She's really just putting herself out there, and you know, you can tell when those kind of certain moments hit, it's like, fuck yeah, that is great. And with the backing of Sammo Hung as well, kind of, you know, and you know, great director who's kind of making these actors look good on screen. It's a really good positive. And that's to be said also within like the last 25 minutes of the film as well, where that is also absolutely incredible. You get some brilliant action set moments. You know, it's a full-on fight between kind of these kind of Vietnamese kind of, you know, soldiers, I would say. They are basically wanting to kind of set up this kind of bank heist, this kind of robbery, and they've escaped from the facility they're in, and they put a team together and they're basically going to rob a Pacific kind of nightclub who has kind of very Pacific kind of bonds and money, and they do this successfully, and it comes a bit of a kind of cat and mouse chase a little bit towards the kind of the third act, and it all leads from a shipping yard kind of container, kind of this kind of boat, to a all-out kind of industrial kind of, you know, desert kind of area where you've got Sammo Hung getting in the action as well, doing a kind of an extended kind of fight sequence, which is awesome. You've got some really kind of hard-hitting contact kind of hits and punches. You've got gunplay, knife play. You've got all sorts of really awesome stuff I use, and some great sequences that I absolutely love seeing, and it makes it such an entertaining film to watch. Absolutely. Now, as you can tell from what I'm saying, the opening's really good. The ending's really good. That middle, though, whew. Talk about melodrama to hell. This is proper soapbox drama, melodrama, really kind of cheese factor turned up to a dial notch. And it's weird because most of it I was with for a good portion with. Essentially, when a character gets killed off, from that sequence onwards, you get a very kind of painful, very kind of dull, overstretched, overlong, really dragged out melodrama kind of series of sequences. You've got one big sequence involving this kind of dinner party, this birthday sequence, then you've got the funeral after, and that dinner sequence, this birthday goes on for so long. It's so overplayed, it's so overdrawn. It's like, we get the point, move on, get the point. And it's interesting because on the extra features on there was a brand new kind of interview with a kind of a film historian who basically talks about this film and the importance of this film and films like it, and talks about their sequences and talks about films very similar to it. And she compares that very similar to also Royal Warriors with the famous Michael Wong kind of, you know, a drag out kind of, you know, love interest character that basically ends up being a very detriment to the film, but also makes it a kind of a cool kick-ass third act, which is very funny, the fact that she mentioned that also within the In Line of Duty movie. So there's kind of a running theme going on where these kind of directors and these type of movies want this really kick-ass kind of B-movie kind of action, but they also don't want it to be a B-movie. They also want it to have a little bit of a class. They want it to have a bit of a drama element to it. They want to have a bit more of an emotional stake, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you're not really understanding what you're filming and you're just, you know, letting these kind of scenes play out for way too long, it's a detriment to your film. And this film comes to a complete halt for at least 20-25 minutes. So you've got a great opening section, you've got a really kind of dull, kind of meddling kind of middle act, which is just goes absolutely nowhere, and you're thinking, oh my god, this third act has to goddamn pay off. If that third act doesn't pay off, this film is a complete fail. And luckily for the film, the third act is absolutely awesome. Once the film actually gets going again, once the director realizes he's actually making a boring film and actually gets back to the action that we want to see, that's when the film really kicks up another high gear once again. The film has brilliant first act, it has a brilliant third act as well, great action fight sequences, great action stunt work, gunplay, an amazing leading female action star who unfortunately just didn't do much more films after this, but she really carries the film really well, and her performance, her kind of stance, her kind of attitude is just really, really awesome to watch. So I would say if you can get past the middle act of the film, if you can enjoy what the film has to offer in terms of the first and third act of the film, then I think you're going to be in for really good. So my thoughts and opinions on She Shoots Straight, please comment down below. What are your thoughts and opinions on the edition? What are your thoughts and opinions on the film itself? Love to know your thoughts, guys. Please comment down below. So in the meantime, Amphlett Reviews, signing out.